Welcome, you guys, to the Bones Easy Street review. I know I slept on this one a little bit, but this is Bones' answer to some of the problems of the STF, which is they can be pretty hard and rattly at 103A durometer, and they can also be a bit slippery on really slick surfaces. So these are 53 millimeter. They are the V1 shape, which is a pretty popular shape, and they are 99A. So to anyone who isn't familiar, 99A and 103A, these numbers come from the durometer system, which is a rating system we use to measure wheels, which isn't very accurate, but that's a topic for a whole other video. So first off, how do these wheels feel? Well, why don't you tell me if you can hear how they feel? So yes, as you could hear, these wheels are actually pretty sticky, and they do still have the characteristic Bones bark, as they say. Yet, to me, it sounds a lot more like geese. Being up in Canada, I'm pretty familiar with Canada geese. So in your first few sessions, if you are used to the original STF or a Formula 4, you might find yourself doing this a lot. However, if you do manage to stick it out on these wheels, you will get used to them and be able to skate. On some surfaces, the grippiness of these wheels is actually really good, so on super polished concrete or on skate light. I have, however, pushed the limits on skate light on these and had a pretty bruised hip after as a result. So they're not grippy enough to be advertised as for skate light, but they're definitely an improvement over a lot of other wheels. Next, let's get into some flat spot testing. They're still riding good. I couldn't feel any flat spots. Let's try this on another surface. Way slicker on asphalt. Oh! They're actually doing pretty good. Shall we go to sandpapery cement? I doubt I'm even going to be able to get these to slide on this. That's hard. I don't think I even could flat spot it on that. I've shredded it though, like totally cheese grated it. See if I can find somewhere a little bit smoother. It's a bit better. Did it! So this is clearly the wheel that takes the abuse when I power slide. I mean, take a look at that, right? It's shredded. And then we have one teeny tiny baby flat spot. I mean, for what I had to do to get that, these are actually really good. I wasn't planning on turning this into a Spitfire versus Bones video, but just for comparison, I'm gonna do some slides on these 99A radial slims. So these are definitely a bit of a smoother feel and they slide faster, but I do want to find out, just to be fair, if I can flat spot these on the same ground as the Easy Streets. Whoa. Yeah, can't slide on those either. A couple more to be fair. No, it's hard to slide, but nothing. Shredding them, like I could feel all the urethane, like a little powdery, as to be expected, but it's still good. Sorry guys, these really are hard to flat spot. So as you can see, under extreme conditions, you can flat spot these. So I don't think I would actually flat spot these under almost any circumstance. Like, I had to try really hard. However, if your local park or spot is really rough or sandpapery cement, and you're a very aggressive kind of skater, like you're sliding out all over the place, then your money might be better spent on a Formula 4. But that's enough about skate parks, you guys. These are the easy streets after all. So how do these feel in the streets, especially compared to the original 103 STF? Well, these actually feel pretty good in the streets. I would say these are definitely an improvement over the 103A. Not as rattly. However, once again, to compare to Spitfire, I do find these, even the 99A, to be just a little bit harder feeling than even a 101A Spitfire Formula 4. So they're still very characteristically Bones, and they still have the same color urethane, you know, pretty bright white with like very slight splotchiness in it. So it's got the same look, it's got a very similar feel, but it is smoother than the 103A. Also, in terms of that flat spot, it was a super small flat spot. I couldn't feel it in the streets at all, and I managed to ride it out in a few days. So it wasn't a big deal. So there is one other thing that I've heard about, although never verified myself. So I want you guys to tell me in the comments what your experiences are. But I know some people that like to crank their wheels tight, as in crank their bearings tight. Like they use spacers or they use Bones Racing Red bearings, which are a whole other topic again. But they like to crank them tight, and they find that Bones wheels have the most accurate and precise cores. Like I've noticed that with Spitfire wheels, when I spin them like this, some of them have a little bit of wobble. And so for people that like to crank their bearings tight with spacers, then they can be a little bit too wobbly for that. So let me know in the comments, you guys, if you've noticed that. Like personally, because I'm a street skater, I have never had a problem with Formula 4s being a little bit uneven or wobbly. Like I've never felt it at all. But for those of you that like to torque them down to X amount of pressure, PSI, that's air, that's not torque. Anyways, you get the idea. Like, for some people, they need the precision of these. Maybe vert dudes or downhill dudes. Let me know. Okay, now a quick recap of the pros and cons. So, the bad. They're not quite as smooth or as slick as a Formula 4 and can be flat spotted under extreme conditions. Now the good. They stay bright white, they're much grippier on slippery terrain, and they're definitely smoother than the original STF. And that's all I have to say about these wheels, you guys. I got used to them, was able to skate them. Keep some wax in your back pocket for waxing the bottom side of the ledges, especially if you ride Thunders, because you won't have that base plate to help you out. But now we're getting really technical, aren't we? Which is what most of you guys like. And for those of you guys that like that, you might actually even still be watching, when most people with shorter attention spans have already checked out. I've checked out, and somehow I'm still talking at you. So do the right thing. Just stop watching and go skate.